Alright, listen up. If you guys are planning on rolling clerics or fire poison wizards, then listen up because they got huge buffs. Assassins seem to have gotten a little bit of a debuff, but I'll let you guys decide. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, MapleCon is happening today, celebrating Maplestory's 20th anniversary. This year's event is especially important because we're getting an entire panel discussing Maplestory Classic Worlds. On top of that, there's a playable beta for Maplestory Classic Worlds available to attendees at the event. YouTuber Dino Fries was live at the event and shared new footage of the servers and the kinds of changes Nexon intends to roll out. So let's get into it, because some of these changes are crazy and I'm excited to cover everything. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So starting off the bat, Claw Punch is confirmed to be in Maplestory Classic Worlds. So I'm going to start off by listing all the changes that I was able to recognize, and then we'll go over some of the old content that is being reintroduced into Maplestory Worlds. Starting off with new skills. Now this one's big, boys. Number recovery for bandits will recover health points and mana points when you evade. So having a higher avoidability stat may be beneficial. How impactful the skill is still up in the air. The new assassin skill, Agile Recovery, will heal HP and will recover health points and mana points when you jump, which is a very interesting skill for assassins. A lot of the new skills that Nexon's intending to introduce and some of the changes they added to existing skills seems to have been thought through, because it doesn't really change the main core gameplay of the class, but makes what you already do a little bit easier and a little bit more impactful, which I personally think is the right direction to head in. Another new skill is called Amazon Judgment for archers, and it's when you land a critical hit, it's going to slow down the enemy. So similar to the new skills for assassins and bandits, this is another skill that doesn't change the core gameplay of the character itself, but just makes playing the job, the class, that much more enjoyable. Now, those are the only 3 skills that I've seen them add, but there's a bunch of changes that Nexon have made to the existing skills. Some for the better and some for the worse, but I'll let you guys decide. First off is Steel. Steel now increases weapon attack, which is pretty cool. That's always fun. Anything that's going to increase your damage, seeing those numbers go up, very, very satisfying. If this is the direction Maplestory Classic is going, Maplestory Classic Plus, if we have no say in it, then I'm going to go along for the ride. And if we are making changes, then I think bandits are a class that could use a little bit of help. To the next huge change is Fire Arrow. We already saw this change in the previous playtest, but it's worth mentioning that Fire Arrow now shoots 3 consecutive arrows, which is pretty crazy. This, along with some of the other changes they've made, is going to make Fire Poison Wizards very, very, very powerful. Which Fire Poison Wizards were the most least played class among the 3, so they could have used some tweaking. Now, whether or not this is a little bit too much is up for debate. Fire Poison Wizards are very, very powerful now, but then again, this is just the beta, so all these numbers can change. Holy Arrow, like I said previously, for clerics, I'll just quickly go over this, also shoots 3 consecutive arrows, which is pretty cool, because honestly, I'm all for making changes that make other play styles more relevant. As a cleric in the past, you would never use Holy Arrow over heal. Another thing I noticed is magicians have critical damage now, which I didn't see a skill for it. I didn't see I don't know how they were doing critical damage, but magicians can critical now, which pretty strong, but admittedly, I like that. I mean, in one way, I like it, but in another way, that's what made assassins and archers and classes that have had critical, that's what made them so fun, is, you know, being able to see that purple number, being able to see that huge damage increase. So if I was a die-hard assassin fan, then honestly, I wouldn't really like this change, because the class identity of the assassin has kind of is diluted a little bit if all classes can do critical damage. But that's what I saw in the beta, so that's what it is. Poison Breath for Fire Poison Wizards explode on impact, which is crazy. Rage for the warrior at max level gives plus 35 weapon attack instead of 30, which is pretty pretty cool. So just a flat increase to damage. Another thing I noticed is Archer's double arrow. If you have 2 monsters in front of you, then the first monster you kill with one of the arrows, the second arrow will continue forward and hit the monster in the back. Threaten for pages actually stun the monster now, on top of applying all those debuffs. If I'm remembering correctly, it never used to stun. So that's pretty cool. Magic Guard is toggable now. Instead of acting like a buff that has a duration, it's actually toggable, which is pretty cool. Definitely different. So those are all the changes to the skills that I've noticed. Now, keep in mind, we don't even know if Third Job is going to be released alongside the launch of Classic Worlds. So I'm excited to see what kinds of changes they've made there, which I'm assuming they have. So I'm excited to see what's going on there. Next, we're going to be moving on to new content, just entirely new content. There's this place called Shallows Passage, a totally new area with totally new mobs, new NPCs. I mean, the whole shebang. We're getting like straight up, this is Classic World Plus. Like, I mean, it's confirmed. I mean, yeah, totally new content, totally new maps, totally new mob, everything, that's something I was not expecting. Honestly, listen, this is the truth, that I'm down for some changes. Only hesitation I have is whether or not we can trust Nexon to make the right changes. You feel me? So, you know, like, as long as they preserve the feel of Classic Worlds, and now I understand the problem with that is that that's a subjective statement, right? But generally speaking, as long as they can, you know, uphold the integrity of classic servers, classic Maplestory, then they can add new content. I'm fine with that. So this is only the beta. So when the actual servers get released, we might get more information, but we might get more content. But for the beta, Victoria, it was only Victoria Island. It was the old school map. You didn't have Ludi, you didn't have Orbis. You couldn't even hop on the ship. You couldn't even use the teleport. It was closed. So there's that. We might be starting, I'm saying, from early patch, which to me is pretty exciting. I grew up, when I started playing, Ludi was around, Orbis was around. And so that's the Maplestory I know. And a lot of you guys are probably similar. But I'd prefer if they actually rolled out patches, rolled out the old content over the span of time. Yeah, you still have to recharge your stars. You still have to recharge your arrows. There's another really interesting thing is that actually on a equip itself, whether it's a weapon or a piece of armor, it's actually gonna display how many stat points above or below you are from the average, that's handy. That's just a helpful update. For some reason, I don't know what was going on here, but the magician was reflecting damage. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. That's pretty crazy. I don't know why they'd be doing that. Even if it was an accident. If it was an accident, that makes it even more confusing. So it makes me think like it's intentional, but I just do not know. Oh, and it also seems that even though assassins have the claw punch, archers do not. So if a monster gets close to you, you do not have to create distance. You can just continue attacking without having to worry about whacking the monster. Archers gonna show some love. Assassins, on the other hand, gonna have to do the old school way. But hey, that's why we're here, right? And then another one, Archer's second job skill. I'm forgetting the name at the moment. The power knockback. The power knockback actually also slows down enemies when you hit them with it. So all in all, I'm happy with what I see. Now the only thing that is a little bit jarring is just the totally new area, new mobs. Maybe because I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't quite seem to mesh with the old school Maplestory content. It just feels like they imported a map from the current Maplestory to the old one. You know, you have totally new assets, totally new everything about it just looks so foreign, which maybe just takes some time for me to get used to. It just doesn't quite seem complete, which it very well may not be because it's the beta, but that's my opinion. Nonetheless, guys, tell me what you think about all this crazy ass shit that's going on, because this is crazy right now. This is really crazy, and I'm excited to see when these servers are actually gonna drop, because the hype is real right now. All right, guys, peace out.